Tonight on Joy News Prime, the NDC has settled on former Education Minister Professor Jane Nano Pukwajimang as running mate for its presidential candidate, former President John Mahama, in the elections this December.
Choice of running mate by the flag bearer, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has been unanimously approved by the National Executive Committee of the NDC and the Council of Elders of the NDC.
Some women in the home constituency of the vice presidential nominee have hailed her selection. We'll tell you who she is and also analyze what she brings to the ticket and if it's enough to send the party to the Jubilee House come January 2021. But the governing New Patriotic Party has criticized the selection, saying she has failed to prove she has a track record of fighting for the cause of women.
During her period, that classroom teachers were denied common chalk to be able to write on blackboards. And we all remember the infamous saying, "We won't give you chalk today or tomorrow."
Also in the bulletin, parents who trooped to Accra Girls Senior High School on Monday over a reported COVID-19 outbreak there left disappointed after they were told they could not leave with their wards. The minority in Parliament says it wants government to reconsider the reopening of schools. Kolebu Teaching Hospital suspends all elective surgeries for 2 weeks over a surge in coronavirus cases among surgical staff.
A number of our staff members have been infected with COVID-19, and as a result of that, the hospital management decided to suspend non-emergency and urgent cases.
In business.
Steel factory worker reportedly dies from smoke inhalation at Free Zones Enclave as two steel manufacturing companies defy an EPA directive to shut down.
So I don't know whether the law enforcement agents are waiting for us to die, just the way we lost one of our colleagues called George. I've been with the family and I have the report from the doctor.
I'm Israel bringing you Joy News Prime from the Joy News Studio live on your digital terrestrial TV. Of course, we're free to air. Stay tuned in. After months of speculation, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, has settled on former Education Minister Jane Nano Pukwajimang as his running mate for the 2020 general elections. The selection was announced after the NDC's National Executive Committee meeting at the party's headquarters in Accra.
John Dramani Mahama making an entry into the Adabraka headquarters of the NDC. The party he led to an unprecedented defeat in 2016, and with which he now intends to make a comeback as standard bearer.
Also getting down from the vehicle, so he will soon get out of his vehicle. Enter the meeting. So currently the meeting is...
It is a big day, a day many political watchers, not least the NDC's strong base, have been waiting for. And it is the day the party, after months of dragging and suspense, lifts the veil off the person who partners Mr. Mahama into that crucial election in December.
Who are calling on him, and of course, quite a number of individuals here and shouting his name. John Dramani Mahama just arrived at the party headquarters and he's going into the meeting.
The consultation has taken place. Earlier, he had consulted members of the Council of Elders of the party who had given their support for his choice of running mates. At the next meeting we just had, there's been a unanimous approval of the National Executive Committee of the choice of running mate by the flag bearer. And so I can tell you that the running mate of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for the 2020 general election is Professor Nana Jane Agyemang. That choice has been approved unanimously by the party.
Professor Opoku Agyemang, a 68-year-old former education minister and vice-chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, has emerged from a keenly contested race that had old guns like Dr. Kwabena Dufo, one-time finance minister and governor of the Bank of Ghana, and economist Dr. Nimoy Thompson. She comes to this role with over 3 decades of public service experience to her credit.
I think that is the greatest and the best thing that's happened to Mother Ghana. If you remember, before we started the preparation of our manifesto, we told the entire country that we're going to consult Ghanaians broadly. We're going to go to them and find out what they are looking for. And so per that consultation, it came to the fore that the people of this country that we have gotten to as a nation, we need a female at the highest office of the land. And so that has informed the decision. That's informed the decision where President Mahama has accepted the call that the people of this country has made on her.
The NDC goes into December's election with close to 1 million vote deficit. But as they say, every election is a new one. And with the NPP having struggled to keep some of its core floating voters happy in its 3.5-year mandate, the 2020 poll promises to be an interesting one.
Professor Jane Opoku Agyemang has accepted her nomination to the ticket. In a letter released to the media, Professor Opoku Agyemang said, "It is with deep honor and a high sense of gratitude that I convey my acceptance of the nomination by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, flag bearer and leader of the great National Democratic Congress, to be his running mate for the December 7, 2020 election. I'm humbled by the overwhelming endorsement my nomination has received from the founder of the NDC, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, the Council of Elders, the National Executive Committee, and the rank and file of our party, as well as the general public. This historic nomination is not a personal achievement, but victory for inclusive and participatory democracy, which enhances the credentials of our country and recognizes the towering role women have played over the ages to achieve the progress we have made. I wish to salute all those who have come before me and pledge to draw deeply from their inspiration. I've worked with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama closely, and I know he is a man of vision, a leader you can trust, a public servant of integrity, and a courageous leader who makes the right decisions in the national interest at all times. I pledge to diligently apply myself and dedicate all the energy and intellect I can muster to ensure a resounding victory for the NDC and for our country, Ghana. So help me God," she concludes. Well, some women from the Komende Dina Egwafo Brim, the home constituency of Professor Nana Opoku Agyemang, are excited about the NDC flag bearer's choice of running mate. They believe she could be the one to help solve the many basic challenges affecting women and children in Ghana and also bring sanity to the country's politics. At a news conference at Elmina in the Central Region, the women were thankful to the presidential candidate, John Mahama, for selecting one of their own.
Papa John Dramani Mahama, where ye are, mammy, Nana Dama and a day. Ombra, now since 1992, you are vice president to be our Yabisia. Now you will need some day fee. Ya mammy by my 12 minimum win. Moa Baba shang another shopper. At the beer, here where you are come to be a mammy, or can you have a pound way to Moyamahan? I am many young boy don't put the offing crab take area. Our office commander. Yen may used to friend time be our Beijing and do. On the other who are gonna assume our Beijing and do. No way tell yes. Musuda sisi ya na body. Saying pay and more but and you are no messy afuna one boa. No to monko. Na so to mokoya kokoba tenia. Abaka and do. Ya catch a papa. John Dramani Mahama Day. Yada nasi bebre. When you saw why yache mesiafo. Na di ya mame. Oda amahen. Na yada mpabu bedineci mwe na abaka no ho. Na wa bumani amahen.
Oye hene nyije na ho de ya today. Hene papa
JM weyi oba de ne vice oye Awurade ne pia obeye no boafo ne hina yije hina anyi de oye besia ne besia de otimesiafo yaase otabatan yaase mbahwase nti yetse ne dam no korinyi yenya age yede mpanyimfo a woka huni tibu anu mo wo huni de afidi Awurade ne din wo beyi besia mo waye boafo amoman panyin na oye Awurade ne pia ma wa abohwe mani na we ono wati mesiafo won nye yasen we tuma aboa mesiafo nti yeda Awurade ase ihe no so yede enyije yede tai nature yede mpaibo yede tai nature de Awurade baye na adom ma ampara waba na we tum wa kai mesiafo na nkankan pode ofi hien keyi ha
But who is Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman? Well, she was born on November 22, 1951 in Cape Coast. Her education background, Anglican girl. She attended the Anglican Girls Secondary School, Koforidua Ebri Presby Girls School, Wesley Girls School, then University of Cape Coast, where she had her English and French. Now, that was in 1977. Now, also, New York University in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, master's and doctorate degrees, 1980 to 1986. She taught and worked at the University of Cape Coast in 1986. So from 1986, she held various academic positions, including head of the Department of English, Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Warden of Additional Hall, Valco Trust Fund, Postgraduate Hostel, and Dean of the School of Graduate Studies and Research, rather. Now, the other academic credentials, she was the academic director of the School for International Training in History. In the History and Cultures of the African Diaspora in 1997, she became Vice Chancellor of the University from 2008 to 2012. And then in March 2007, she was one of 5 scholars to deliver presentations for the 200th anniversary of the abolition of slavery at the UN headquarters, New York City. In October 2009, she was elected Ghana's representative to the Executive Board of UNESCO. She moderated the presidential debate with current Information Minister Kojo Oppong Nkrumah ahead of the 2012 general elections, and then she became Minister of Education from February 2013 until January 2017. Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman became the Chancellor of the Women's University in Africa, Zimbabwe, 26 October 2018. She has served on many local and international boards and committees such as CDD Ghana, the editorial board of the Harriet Tubman series on the African diaspora, the Africa Initiative in Canada, and the College of Physicians and Surgeons as eminent citizens. Now, the governing New Patriotic Party has congratulated the opposition NDC on the selection of Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman as running mate for former President John Mahama in the December election. Addressing a news conference in Accra, Director of Communications for the NPP, Jane Yawabing Asamoah, said, though the choice of a woman should ideally be hailed, Professor Opoku-Agyeman has failed to prove she has a track record of fighting for women and their welfare, adding her abysmal performance in the education sector makes her a no match for Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
In an ideal world, one of the strongest things going for the selection of the good professor would have been that she is a woman, and this would be met with a lot of enthusiasm. Unfortunately, Professor Opoku-Agyeman hardly meets the expectations of someone who has a track record of fighting for women or their welfare. Luckily for all of us, Nana Opoku-Agyeman is not new to Ghana politics, and it's her performance during her period as a political appointee that we are going to continue referring to from now on in. We need not remind anybody that it was during her tenure that training teachers' allowances were scrapped. It was done without paying any heed to the many appeals to reconsider the decision. Indeed, it was one of the things she was proud to have done, scraping teacher allowances. Solidly on her front desk, the cold-hearted manner in which teachers were treated cannot easily be forgotten, either by the teachers themselves or the nation. Let it not again be forgotten that Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman had been a teacher herself before she came to the position of Minister of Education. And yet, it was during her period that classroom teachers were denied common chalk to be able to write on blackboards. And we all remember the infamous saying, "We didn't give you chalk today or..."
We're sorry, first of all, for that break. We're going over now to Evans Smith, who's standing by. He's the head of the political desk here at Joy News. Now, Evans, we've heard, let's start with what the NPP has had to say about the choice of running mate for the NDC, or for John Mahama. Is that all that the NPP, or we can expect that they're going to be saying a lot of these things? But looking at who the choice is there much that the NPP can bring against this ticket?
I mean, Israel, that is an important question. For an opposition political party, the key thing they will need to find is, can we find some skeletons in a cupboard? But because she's also been a minister before, you would want to look at, in terms of her leadership as a minister in charge of education, were there some missteps that you could use to attack her integrity and her competence, which really has, for the NDC, is the main reason why she was appointed. They have found one, which is the fact that she cancelled the teacher training allowances as the education minister, something that became a key political campaign promise for the NPP when they were in opposition. The then candidate Nana Addo used that quite forcefully in campaigning, and which again I've heard the NPP say at this particular press conference. In fact, I've heard also some of the NPP communicators go back to the Muntie 3 petition that some leading figures in the NDC petitioned John Mahama then as a president to pardon those three who were on the radio station alleged to have made some derogatory comments, including allegations that they had said they would rape at that time the female chief justice. I've heard the MPP communicators say, for example, that, yeah, I mean, you've appointed somebody who was defending individuals who allegedly had been accused of threatening to rape a fellow woman. I mean, so this is what politics is. They will start digging up on the skeletons in your cupboard. Some of these things I've just highlighted, they will find and use against her. The question is whether the electorate will buy into that. But she now is front and center, and she is fair game. The question is whether you can attack her, being a woman, as vigorously and as unforgiving as you would if she was a male candidate.
You see, and Evans, that's a question the other question I want to come back to. It has to do with all the political mud that's been thrown at her. Is that enough to stick and to stain the ticket?
I doubt if Israel, I doubt if that will be enough. I mean, they will definitely have to try, but I doubt if that will be enough. I mean, it is a case of Jane Nana's record speaking for itself, but it's also up to Jane Nana herself to show us that what the allegations that have been leveled against her and her leadership qualities that will be challenged are nothing more than against it. It will stick if she fails to fight back. I mean, politics, you have to fight back. I mean, and for me, that would be a key thing to watch, whether she is ready to play this game and fight back and throw her own mud at people. But then they can argue, maybe they chose her because they want to be different in terms of the fact that this is not your typical politician, and so she will not be throwing the mud. She will be giving us an alternative to the career politicians we have. Some may say that may be her appeal also, which is also interesting.
All right, but there are lots of people who were expecting that the NDC was going to come up with someone who was going to be a match for the vice president, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia. Clearly, it doesn't appear as if Professor Jane Nano Opoku-Agyeman is that person.
So this is the question that infuriates the NDC. This hoisting of the record of Dr. Bawumia as the standard bearer of a sort when it comes to who and what a running mate and a vice presidential candidate should be. They say, well, he doesn't. You are giving him too much credit. But the truth and the facts say to us that indeed, Dr. Bawumia has really set the bar very high. But he's had 3 elections to build himself into this kind of person that we have. You cannot deny that Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman will be locked in the same prison. Can she match Dr. Bawumia? It's a fundamental question I must ask, because also look at what Dr. Bawumia did in the 2016 elections. He became the shield that prevented the NDC from directly aiming and targeting and scoring bullseye attacks on Nanado. He was the guy who was out there doing all the attacks while Nanado was campaigning. Now, that has proven to be a very effective strategy. Why? Because John Mahama will need the peace of mind to actually do the campaigning, because remember, he is the proper politician. He understands the ground game. He must do that ground game, right? Whilst he does that, can Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman by herself also take the focus off John Mahama, so John Mahama can do the ground game whilst she takes the blows? That will be a key thing to find. But even if you want to throw her into the grassroots, the campaign trail to go and campaign, again, can she match up with Dr. Bawumia? And it's for no reason that Dr. Bawumia lost 2 elections with Nanado before he became the success of 2016. Will that be the story of Jane Nana Agyeman? Will she be a first-time hit with only 5 months to go to sell her? Those are big ifs.
All right, thank you very much, Evans Mensah. Evans Mensah is head of our political desk. I wish we could have continued the conversation, because there's so much more I know that you have on your mind, but that's where we ended. But also in the bulletin, 91 personnel of Ghana's premier hospital, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, have so far tested positive for COVID-19. The facility has been forced to suspend non-emergency surgery and urgent cases at least for the next 2 weeks. The decision to suspend non-emergency surgical cases, according to the hospital, was necessitated by the fact that some staff have been infected with COVID-19. The measure is intended to protect the remaining hospital staff and clients who are on admission at the facility.
This is Ghana's premier hospital, and coronavirus is wreaking havoc here. As at the end of June this year, about 71 health professionals had tested positive for coronavirus. Today, the figure has changed. 91 health professionals here had tested positive for coronavirus. The development has forced the facility to suspend emergency and urgent cases.
The hospital management decided to suspend non-emergency and urgent cases for the next 2 weeks. There are reasons for this. One is to protect our clients and patients. and then 2, to also protect the rest of staff who are still at post and then providing care to patients.
How many of your staff have been infected of COVID-19?
As of last week, we have about 91 staff members who are infected with the disease, and then we are still working, but within the circumstances, we thought it wise to scale back so that we will not expose our patients, and the other reason for which we work here.
Did you say 91?
Yeah, 91, yes.
And this latest one, which has informed the decision to suspend non-emergency services, how many are we looking at?
It's not the latest. We are looking at the cumulative figures that we have received, and that is why we are taking this decision. We have staff who are critical to the care that we provide, particularly the surgical interventions that we do in the hospital, and if a good number of them are exposed, it is only fair and proper for us to scale back and use those who are not affected to still provide the care to the dire emergencies. So we are calling on sister hospitals not to refer the non-emergency and urgent cases. They should try and refer to other appropriately equipped facilities within the metropolis to handle that whilst we observe this period of suspension for the next 2 weeks.
So over the period, that is by end of June, you had 91 of your workers infected with the virus, correct?
Yes, as at last week.
How many have been asked to go into quarantine? I'm sure you did contact tracing. So out of this 91, we know the 91 for sure they are on isolation. How many have been asked to go on quarantine?
When you are affected, out of this 91, remember some of them have been treated and discharged and they are back to work. And then if you want the exact numbers, I have to check on that and then get back to you.
So how many of the units have been affected in this whole development of COVID outbreak here?
No, for what we are seeing now, the surgical interventions, all of them will be affected in that. So you have the ENT, you have the general surgery, the main surgical block will be affected, ENT, pediatric surgery, accident and emergency, obstetrics will also be affected. So for all of these areas, we are going to see to the dire emergencies for the next 2 weeks. So we are asking for this so that we can reorganize ourselves and then resume normal operations without putting our patients in harm's way.
Watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin, parents who trooped to Accra Girls Senior High School on Monday over a reported COVID-19 outbreak there left disappointed after they were told they could not leave with the award. We're taking a break, after which we'll bring you business news to stay tuned.
Hello everyone, great to be back. My name is Sandra Isinamap and I'm here for business. It's been 3 years since two steel manufacturing companies, United and Ryder Steel, were directed by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, to shut down operations due to air pollution at the Free Zones Enclave. Years on, that is yet to be done. A few weeks ago, the Minister of Environment, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, again visited the company, directing they do the needful. As we speak now, these two companies are still operating. Charles Aite was at the Free Zones Enclave and reports some steel factory workers are accusing EPA and government of being lenient with the company as they mourn the death of a colleague reported to have died from smoke inhalation.
So I don't know whether the official, the law enforcement agents are waiting for us to die, just the way we lost one of our colleagues called George. I've been with the family, and I have the report from the doctor at one hospital at Malam Junction called Akawi. I went there personally to do the inquiries, and I was told that he died. He had an infection because of the smoke. Here as well, I get my daily bread from. You understand? So I will not wait for them to drive us away from our work. We are not rats. We are human beings. And I know it's only rats that they chase them out of their pit by smoke. We are human beings. And this smoke is not just a mere smoke. It contains some poisonous substance called carbon.
Me personally, it darkened my face. All my face is dark. And at times I even cough. So I think it is the symptoms of the smoke. So we are appealing to the government to come to our aid. We don't want to take the laws into our hand and do what is not acceptable. That is why we are appealing to the government to come to our aid.
We have complained about a lot, and we are getting infection, our workers and our customers. We are not getting any result from it. We have done a lot of videos, demonstration, but nothing is going on. So we want to invite the health ministry and the Environmental Protection Agency to come inside with this smoking issue. We are dying about this issue. See, we are not getting any result from it. So we are begging the government that he shouldn't focus on COVID-19 alone.
We will certainly be following up on this story and bring you some explanation from the EPA. Away from the Chief Executive of the AGI, Sechum Akwabwa, says the postponement of the Continental Free Trade Agreement to January 2021 should be a good time for SMEs in the country to consider collaborative efforts that will increase their capacity on the continent. He's urging more measures among micro enterprises to make them more competitive.
There's the need for synergies and cooperation and collaboration around this time. And I just want to re-echo that point because we seem to have suddenly forgotten about the CFTA that is coming on stream early next year. It was supposed to have started middle of this year. Because of the COVID, it's been shifted a bit. But that is going to be another game changer. And for us MSMEs, the way to benefit is that we must come together, cooperate, and upscale our operations so that we can be competitive. Because what the CFTA is going to do is to open our markets. Our markets are going to be flooded by goods from Nigeria, from Egypt, from South Africa, everywhere. The same way we also have opportunities in other countries. So we have to be mindful of that and cooperate so that we can build bigger capacities and be competitive. That is one thing that is very critical. The second thing he mentioned, which I also want to re-echo, is the fact that within your operations, there are controllable factors and uncontrollable factors. Issues that you can control, you can manage it. If it's to do with the labor, if it's to do with raw materials, if it's to do with borrowing money and all that. But there are factors that you can't control. And that is where the associations come in. So it's important that you join business associations because there are issues that are at national level, policy related. Those policy related issues have serious impact on your business. And don't lose sight of it. You may have done the best of business practices, done all the research, you're using all the proper, ethical standards and everything, but your business can still go down if policy issues are not properly done in your favor. So working with business associations then become very important.
In more news tonight, the bulk oil storage and transportation company BOST has temporarily shut down its head office at Jolo in Accra. This was after 46 staff tested positive for coronavirus following a mass testing exercise. According to the company, the mass testing exercise was conducted after a staff of the IT department tested positive for the virus. BOST, however, added the development will not negatively impact its operations of the company since all staff have the needed facilities and enhancement to work from home within the period. BOST also added that the head office will be fumigated to ensure the safety of all staff when they resume work.
Right, it's time for sports, and Oreko Ampo joins me from home. Hello, Oreko.
Hi, Israel. And as you did mention, it's time for the sports segment, and we start off from some Ghana football news where the Executive Council, that's George Amwako and Frederick Champon, might lose their positions as members of the powerful decision-making body of the association. Now, the duo were voted onto the EXCO due to their affiliations with Asante Kotoko and Ashanti Gold as chief executive officers, but they have since lost their positions, rendering them unqualified to represent their Premier League clubs.
The two were voted onto the Executive Council by virtue of their affiliations with Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Ashgold as chief executive officers. Mr. George Amwako-led management team was dissolved by the new board of directors of Asante Kotoko, whilst Frederick Echampong resigned from his position as CEO of Ashgold 3 months ago. Joy Sports sources revealed that they were voted to represent the interests of Premier League club's constituency, and since they are no longer affiliated to any club, they should either resign or attach themselves to other clubs. It's unclear when these two must find clubs soon, but what is definite is that their future as members of the Executive Council of the FA is under threat. Per the statutes that qualified them to contest in last year's elections, one must be affiliated to a member of the FA to be eligible. Since they are no longer holding any position with a member of the Ghana Football Association, they are unqualified to hold on to their positions as they cannot represent the interests of the clubs.
To some more sports stories, where former Ghana midfielder Derek Boateng has attributed Ghana's failure to win the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations in South Africa due to voodoo. Now, speaking on last Saturday's edition of Joy Sports Link, he claims some of his teammates work spiritually against each other to have opportunities to rather play. That's the note on which we'll be ending the first part of the sports segment. Yeah, I'll be back with some more sports stories. My name is Oreko Ampofo, and do remember to stay safe. Back to you.
All right, it's time for showbiz, and Becky is here. And because of the COVID social distancing, we just have to make sure she's far away from me as possible. Check. Okay, cool.
Welcome back, Izzy.
Thanks.
I know a lot of people are not taking the COVID seriously.
They should.
Yes. So Atongo Simba, he is a musician having no, there is no beer. Yeah. And he is saying that you guys should take the COVID seriously.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Atongo Zimba. We are on live, acoustical music 2020, live on YouTube and Facebook. This is concerned about COVID-19, killing our brothers and sisters. Please, my brothers and sisters, it's real. Use your hand sanitizer. Wash your hands frequently. Oh yes, it's real. Come on, yes, it's real. Oh, you love and it's real. Like I, yes, real. Oh yes, it's real. Oh, now, yes, it's real. Killing me, my brother, and killing me, my sister. Killing me, my papa, and killing me, my papa. Killing me, my mama, and killing me, my papa. Oh yes, it's real. Come on, yes, it's real.
So COVID is real. So if you're still out there thinking that it's not real, we're social distancing right here. And Shatta Wale, because of COVID, has to postpone his album. He put something on social media, Facebook for that matter. He says that preparation towards my studio album, Gift of God, is still underway. Myself and my team are working tirelessly to put together a timeless album that will stand the test of time and to give all my fans and music lovers around the world an unforgettable experience. We're looking at dropping the album this year, but upon second thoughts, looking at how the coronavirus pandemic is taking a heavy toll on mankind, we have decided to postpone the final release date to next year, 2021. I'll be with you, still dropping some singles to keep waiting, for you to keep waiting and entertain. Hashtag Miss Money featuring Medical is out now. So that's coming from Shatta Wale. Shatta Wale, I mean, we're expecting that.
Yeah. But talking about Shetawale, I know you had some issues with him. You guys fell out at some point. It turns out now you've patched up.
Yeah, he was actually supposed to send me a video of this particular story, but he didn't. But hopefully we'll have Shetawale live maybe on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll talk to him on Friday. I'll work on that.
All right, sure.
But let's celebrate Akwabwa Jr. right here, because he was on Joy Prime Present. He was being celebrated there. And also he performed at the Emmy Awards. You know, Emmy Awards happened over the weekend. And so we're celebrating Akwabwa. He is on Spotlight this evening. All right, so that was Akwabwa. We celebrate Akwabwa right here.
All
Easy.
Right. Thank you very much, Becky, for bringing us Showbiz. We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime. There's more news up ahead. Stay tuned in. Now, parents and guardians who trooped to Accra Girls Senior High School on Monday over a reported COVID-19 outbreak had to leave the school disappointed after they were told they could not leave with their wards. A deployment of police officers had to be called in to ensure law and order as the parents massed up in front of the school, visibly agitated. A followed report, at least 6 students have tested positive for COVID-19. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
Anxious parents mass up in front of the Accra Girls Senior High School to take their children home. The students are defiant, gesturing their parents to come for them. Salifu Dabri's daughter is a student at Accra Girls Senior High School. He's unhappy that school authorities remain tight-lipped on reported COVID-19 cases.
Well, I'm here this morning to try to find out the situation, because last night we picked a feed that 6 students of Accra Girls have tested positive. And I know I have a ward here, I'm a concerned parent. We have a common platform for parents, And this is the case that when we had the situation, we try to speak or to pick information from the PT executives. What is happening to our wards here? The PT executives, nobody's talking, the chairman is not talking, the secretary, who's a teacher here, also refuses to talk. So definitely we need to come to the school and they try to speak to the school authorities as to the situation of our wards here. And when we came to the school authorities, nobody is prepared to talk. Like I said earlier, PT is not prepared to talk. Almost anybody in the Accra school, nobody is prepared to talk.
Mohammed Omar is a worried father. Silence from school authorities has increased his anxiety.
They stay in there again, so they want to come home. That's why I rushed to come this morning to see what is actually going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if have you tried reaching the school authorities, and what have they been telling you?
I have not yet gotten. And in fact, the day we brought the children, since then we have been receiving numerous informations about what is going on in the school. It's very bad.
After many hours of disagreements and waiting, parents were called for a short meeting with the school authorities. Some of them came out of the meeting infuriated. Mami Sewa Frimpon is one of them.
She said it's under control, and she couldn't answer simple questions I asked, and that is the social distancing they are talking about is not being observed in the dormitories.
Okay.
And the woman could tell me, all what she told me was they can't force the kids, and it's in the kids' responsibility to know they are to keep their social distances. Really.
So did she confirm or deny that 6 students have tested positive?
She didn't deny. She said it's under control. She couldn't deny it. She said it's under control. So we are still waiting.
All attempts to get authorities of the school to comment on the matter proved futile. One of the police officers deployed to ensure order at the school prevented some journalists from doing their work.
One of the police officers wants to address the parents. Let's get closer and hear what he's going to tell the parents.
But now there's a situation, so the school should be addressing them.
No, don't record me. Don't record me.
No, he's not recording you.
Don't record me.
No.
Take away. I said don't record me.
This is a public institution. Information you are
There's a journalist who was recording with his recorder.
The media should not record you. Whatever information you are giving here, the public deserves to hear it.
You are telling me I should be civilized. Are you civilized yourself? Mind your words. What do you mean that I'm civilized? Your language is decent. What do you mean? You say you're a media. Is that the way you talk? Telling me I should be civilized. You're telling me I should be civilized. You think somebody can be a journalist or what?
No, it's not referring to you. Some of the police officers are asking our camera technician to stop filming, and at this point, it's quite interesting why they want our cameras to stop filming at this point. Parents are gathered here. He was.
Well, the minority in Parliament is calling on government to reconsider reopening schools following reports that some senior high school students have contracted the coronavirus just weeks after academic work resumed. A statement issued in Accra on Monday made reference to the Accra girls incident and how parents and guardians are completely at sea as to the conditions in the schools because of the visiting restrictions and how the day students who have to commute via public transport to school could carry infections to their mates in the boarding house. They say, we are of the firmest conviction that as a nation, we must not wait until it is too late to do anything. Our students need to be protected from the high risk of exposure. As can be seen, the Akufo-Addo government has failed to contain the virus. It is time government reconsiders keeping our schools open while we enter our rooms every day with prayer that no one gets infected. We also have a choice of reducing such high risk by closing these schools for a much extended period until we are sure of having contained the virus, which would reflect on our cases per day. We must prioritize the lives of the students. After all, how can sick or dead students write exams? The examinations can be postponed, but the safety of our future leaders cannot be postponed. The statement is signed by Dr. Clarence Park, MP Bulsa South and Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee of Parliament. Now, we're joined via Zoom by Angel Carbon, who's the NAGRA president. Thank you very much for making time to speak with us. Now, you've heard about the coronavirus case or the reports of coronavirus cases at some senior high schools. What do you know as far as these cases are concerned?
Well, it's a very challenging time for parents, students, and teachers, because the situation in Accra Girls, for example, has created a huge level of anxiety for all stakeholders. That anxiety does not stop at Accra Girls, but I'm sure in many other schools will have the same or similar situation. From our point of view, we need to handle the situation to give assurance to both parents, teachers, and students, because I wonder how many parents of Accra Girls can have a peaceful sleep this night, knowing very well that there is a situation like that in Accra Girls and in many other schools.
Now, we know of Accra Girls. Which other schools do you know of?
Well, I don't know of very specific institutions and very specific cases. So it will be difficult for me to say specifically that there is infection in this school or in that school.
But let me ask, is Accra Girls the only school that has a case like this?
Well, that is the report we are having, because I don't think testing is being done in all schools to know the situation as it is. And I don't even know how the Accra Girls situation came about, whether the COVID-19 team went to the school or some students fell sick, I do not know. But then it's difficult to find out how it was confirmed that 6 students in Accra Girls have been infected by COVID-19.
Now, apart from the students, the teachers, which you represent or you speak for, are also at risk. What is the communication you're getting from them?
Absolutely, they are. You know, because the teachers, majority of whom do not stay on the school campus will have to commute from wherever they live to school. And again, I do not know whether all the students in Accra Girls have come to the boarding house. I'm talking about the day students. So that creates a very precarious situation in the school.
All right, thank you very much, Angel Carbon, who's the NAGRA president. Thank you for your time. You're watching Joy News Prime.
Welcome back to business. Agri-communication firm Isoko Ghana is predicting a reduction in food prices for the month of July 2020. According to Isoko, all things being equal, it's expected that some commodities will see a reduction in prices, while few will see increases. In the following report, we take a look at how the market fared for the month of June and what to expect in July.
This prediction by Isoko comes after most commodities recorded high prices for the month of June. Cassava, for instance, made the highest gain of 12.99% to close the month at 158 Ghana cedis per bag. Imported rice also gained 9.90% to close at 404 Ghana cedis per bag, while Puna gained 6.65% to close at 892.67 Ghana cedis per 100 tubers, with white cowpea also gaining 6.03% to close at 452 cedis per bag. Gari increased by 3.10% to close at 242.14% per bag, with groundnut shelled also gaining 2.93% to close at 582.29 Ghana cedis per bag. However, the price of tomato plunged by 42.99% to close at 532 Ghana cedis a crate. Local rice losing 2.49% to close at 336.29 Ghana cedis. With the rain setting in now, Isoko is predicting a reduction in food prices for the month of July. According to the agri-communication firm, all things being equal, it expects most commodities to see reduction in prices, with few witnessing an increase.
Francis Dansoeje is the content manager at Isoko Ghana. He joins me via the phone lines to talk more. Hello, Francis. Good evening. And if you can hear me, you are predicting a reduction in food prices for this month. What is the basis for your conclusion?
Good evening and thank you.
Yes, Francis. Yes, go ahead, please.
We arrived at that conclusion because over the year, when you study the trend, any time that we enter the month of July, moving towards August, you see commodity prices dropping. And this is as a result of the fact that most of the farmers will want to, and traders will want to release their old stock that they had and then make preparations for the harvest in August. And so they try to release the old stock onto the market, thereby reducing the prices of most of the commodities that are traded.
Okay, so you mentioned that we witnessed some increases and then also some increases as well. What specifically will go up and what will not go up?
So we expect that cowpea, which is local bean, the prices will still move up. And then we also expect that the price for yam and then cassava will still be up because we will not be in that season where we expect the price of that commodity to drop.
Okay, quickly before you go, the rains are in now. How is that likely to impact food supply and distribution?
It is going to create a challenge in a lot of the rural areas where we cut our food stuff from onto the market. And so when that happens, especially if they are vegetables and then those that cannot store for long, we are going to lose a lot of them on the road, which is going to have an effect on the prices when it finally gets to the market, because they will have to pay more for transportation.
All right,
and then find other means of cutting it.
All right, Francis, thanks so much for your time this evening. From the local commodity markets, let's hit the international commodity market for the updates. And you can buy crude oil around $43.11 a barrel and gold for $1,784.28 an ounce. Thanks so much for your time this evening. I am Sandra Esenamapel. Have a great evening.
All right, that's how we wrap up the bulletin for today. Up next, we'll bring you a hotline documentary to stay tuned in. I'm Israel. Thank you very much for watching.